All right, guys, what's going on? Levi Trumbull reporting here. Today is December 31st, 2023. So not quite Happy New Year's yet, but we are going to close out this year, 2023, with an answer to a question that we have posed to Frederick County Public Schools for quite some time now. If you have been following this channel, then you know for a fact that we have been asking and inquiring about how much money the Frederick County taxpayer has had to spend as it relates to civil defense representation, as it relates to a multitude of civil lawsuits that Frederick County Public Schools has been subjected to over the past couple of years. Obviously, people have been bringing claims against FCPS, and FCPS has to defend those claims in court with legal representation. Now, we know this is something that's going to be paid for on the taxpayer's dime. So we were trying to figure out how much potential negligence is costing the taxpayers of Frederick County. Well, we have gotten a definitive response, a definitive answer to that question, and now we are going to share it with you guys. So let's just do a quick summary before we do that. So if you will remember, we posed the question to FCPS: how much are the taxpayers having to spend on civil defense representation? And in response to that Maryland Public Information request, they responded with a large Excel spreadsheet document which contained hundreds of miscellaneous legal payments to different legal entities, and they were just scattered all over the place. They were not in any chronological sort of order. It was just a very unresponsive Excel spreadsheet, which really didn't answer the question that we had posed, which was how much specifically has the taxpayers of Frederick County had to spend in civil defense representation. That was the key word, civil defense representation. And we couldn't get an answer to that. And certainly sending me a large Excel spreadsheet with miscellaneous payments on it did not do the trick and was not sufficient. So we inquired back as to see how we could get this problem resolved with FCPS. One of the things that they said was that the reason they couldn't be so specific was because that Frederick County Public Schools actually gets their civil defense representation through their liability insurance company, which made total sense to me. So if you guys are unaware, what Frederick County Public Schools has is something that a lot of people have. You might even have it, but it's essentially a liability insurance company, similar to an umbrella policy if you guys have one at home. So if somebody were to come to your house and maybe fall down the stairs, if you had an umbrella policy, if you had homeowners insurance or whatever it is you had, and somebody sued you for that, you would have an insurance policy which would protect you and would also give you coverage and access to lawyers who would work on behalf of the insurance company and would bill the insurance company rather than you. So that made a lot of sense. Frederick County Public Schools has a liability insurance company who they have to pay an annual premium to every single year, so that if they get into lawsuits such as the ones they have found themselves in, they will be covered with attorneys through their liability insurance. But that annual premium, that annual cost for that liability insurance, of course, is paid for by us. We pay for Frederick County Public Schools liability insurance. So I specifically requested, who is your insurance carrier and how much money have we paid them since 2017? Because if I find that out, then I will have the answer to all my questions. And just as I suspected, we requested those records from 2017 all the way up to 2023. We have them here. We have the total figures, and we're going to read them to you. But just as I suspected, the cost of that annual premium has exponentially risen over the past 5 years. So the first thing that I want to point out to you is in this letter that they sent me, they tell me specifically that Wright Insurance is the sole provider for general liability legal insurance through the Frederick County Public School system. So again, that's Wright Insurance. Now we are going to read you how much the taxpayers have had to pay for that annual premium since 2017. So in 2017, taxpayers had to pay $189,515 for this insurance. In 2018, taxpayers had to pay roughly $200,000. In 2019, $212,000. In 2020, $253,000. In 2021, $290,000. In 2022, $323,000. And then for this year, 2023, the taxpayers for Frederick County, Maryland had to pay $390,000 for this liability insurance premium. So one of the things that just stands out to me right off the bat is that in the past 2 years, since 2021, this liability insurance has gone up from 21 to 23 has gone up $100,000. And in the past 5 years, the insurance has gone up a little bit more than $200,000. And I suspect that come 2024, this liability insurance is going to go well into the $400,000 mark. Again, this is the annual premium for Wright Insurance, W-R-I-G-H-T Insurance Company. So there is the answer right there. We finally got our answer. Thanks to this very extensive process that we had to undertake to learn this information. They didn't want to cough it up so easy, but eventually we did get it. So those are the figures. Obviously, this number has gotten exponentially higher, and if FCPS keeps getting sued, that number is just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. You know, we'll see what ends up happening, but this is something that we are going to stay on because it certainly tells you what the insurance carrier thinks of FCPS. With numbers like these, it tells you very clearly that they think that FCPS is a high risk, and rightfully so when they face the number of lawsuits that they have faced over the past couple of years. So those are the numbers, those are the figures. I'm glad that we finally got in possession of them and that we were able to close out 2023 with having that long-standing question answered. So Levi Trumbull reporting in Frederick County, Maryland. We'll catch you soon.